Današnji večer, oziroma današnje predavanje, nocojšnje predavanje, nosi najbolj poseben naslov. In upam, da bomo odkrili zanimivo zadevo, da smo vedeli, verjeli, ampak nismo spoznali. Zanima me, kaj je to, in me veseli, da bomo odkrili morda še kaj takega skrivnostnega in koristnega. Želimo, da se lepo počutite. Rad bi vas opozoril, da snemamo in tudi zaradi tega je dobro, da se ne slišijo telefoni, da jih prosim izklopite. Tisti, če vas moti prepih ali kaj, pridite na to stran, ker smo se učili v začetku tedna, da je naša osnovna, med osnovnimi potrebami našimi je kisik. In lepo prosimo, da ne bi spali tukaj, ampak da bi odnesli čim več od tega. Veselimo se, da je z nami dr. Sandoval, ki nas bo popeljal v posebno premišljevanje in spoznavanje tudi nocoj.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back together with you.
Hvala lepa, lepo je, da smo danes ponovno skupaj.
And every evening we have new people arriving.
Vidim, da vsak večer imamo nove ljudi.
And so it's good for us to summarize what we have covered so far.
Zato bi bilo dobro, da povzamemo, kar smo do zdaj povedali.
Right? So on the first evening, on Monday,
V ponedeljek smo
we were looking at health.
gledali zdravje.
And the fact that health involves more than just what we eat and drink.
Zdravje zajema več, kakor je samo tisto, kar jemo ali pijemo.
Right? But health also has a lot to do with how we think.
Ampak zdravje je odvisno od tega, kako premišljujemo, kaj premišljujemo.
And that indeed, when there are problems, we have symptoms.
Ko se pojavijo težave, obstajajo bolezenski znaki.
But the symptoms are not the problem.
Ampak bolezenski znaki niso težava.
The symptoms show us that there is a problem.
Samo nam kažejo, da obstaja težava.
Right? And when we know that there's a problem, we should look for the cause.
Ko se zavemo, da težava obstaja, naj bi poiskali vzrok.
But the cause is never where the effect is.
Ampak vzrok ni nikoli tam, kjer se pokaže posledica.
Right? The cause always comes from outside of where the effect is.
Pride od zunaj, ne od tod.
So if you have a rash on your ear,
Če vas srbi, oziroma imate srbečico ušesa,
well, the cause did not come from the ear.
vzrok ni v ušesu.
The cause came from outside of the ear somewhere.
Prišel je od nekod od zunaj.
Right? And if you develop a cancer somewhere,
Če razvijete kakšnega raka,
well, the cause for the cancer did not begin right where the cancer is.
vzrok za rak ni prav na tem mestu, kjer se je pojavil.
Right? The cause had to come from somewhere else.
Moral je priti od zunaj.
And also on Monday, we recognize that not only do we need food and water and oxygen,
V ponedeljek nismo ugotovili samo, da rabimo hrano, vodo in kisik,
but we also need love.
ampak tudi ljubezen.
Right? And everybody needs love.
Vsak potrebuje ljubezen.
And then on Tuesday and yesterday,
V torek in včeraj
we saw that nothing of the same kind can be the source for something of the same kind.
smo ugotovili, da nič, kar je iste vrste, ne more potešiti naše potrebe.
Right? So a tree cannot be a source for another tree.
Torej, drevo ne more drugemu drevesu biti vir.
Right? A fish cannot be a source for another fish of its same kind.
Riba ne more biti vir za druge ribe iste vrste.
And humans cannot be the source for humans.
In tako tudi človek ne more biti vir za druge ljudi.
Right? If you need food,
Če potrebujete hrano,
you don't go to a human to get food.
ne greste k človeku, da bi jo dobili.
In other words, you don't go and eat another person.
Hotel sem povedati, ne greste pojesti drugega človeka.
Right? Because if everybody ate everybody else, soon
Če
there
bi
would
jedli
be
vsak koga drugega,
there wouldn't be anybody left.
ne bi nihče ostal.
Right? And so we always go to something else for our source.
Vedno gremo nekam drugam, da bi našli vir zadovoljitve.
So when you go to the store and you're hungry, you don't buy a person.
Ko greste ko ste lačni in greste v trgovino, ne boste kupili osebe.
Right? You might buy an apple or a cake or something
Morda
else.
boste kupili jabolko ali kola, torto.
Right? And if you're thirsty, you don't go to the store and buy a person.
In ko ste žejni, ne greste kupiti človeka.
Right? You go buy water or juice or something else.
Boste zadovoljni s sokom, vodo ali čem.
Right? So everything that we need has a source where that need comes from.
Vse, kar potrebujemo, prihaja iz nekega vira.
And in order for our needs to be satisfied,
Da bi zadovoljili svoje potrebe,
we must take what we need and bring it in.
moramo vzeti, kar potrebujemo in spraviti to vase.
So if I'm hungry and you eat,
Če sem jaz lačen in ti ješ,
well, that doesn't do me any good.
meni ne bo koristilo.
Right? I have to eat.
Jaz moram jesti.
And if I'm dying from thirst
Če umiram za žejo
and you drink a whole bottle of water,
in ti spiješ celo steklenico vode,
well, that's good for you, but it
to je
won't
dobro
do
za
much good for
vas,
me.
ampak ne za mene.
Right? I'm going to have to drink.
Jaz bom moral piti.
And it's also true when it comes to our intangible needs.
Prav tako velja isto za naše neotipljive potrebe,
Like love,
kot je ljubezen,
acceptance,
sprejemanje,
belonging,
pripadnost,
right? Compassion,
usmiljenje,
right?
Sočutje.
Whatever those needs are.
katerokoli potrebo lahko navedemo.
If they stay outside of us,
Če ostane tisto zunaj nas,
then we cannot live by it,
potem ne moremo iz tega živeti.
but it must be brought into us in order for us to live and
Moramo to
to function.
vzeti vase, da bi delovali, da bi funkcionirali.
Right? And it's our own action that brings it in
To moramo početi s svojim dejanjem,
so that it becomes ours,
da postane naše,
so that we can live by it.
da bi lahko živeli na podlagi tega.
And yesterday we really saw that we have a problem,
Včeraj smo ugotovili, da imamo težavo
and that problem is that we don't see things correctly.
in to je, da ne vidimo stvari takšne, kot so.
Right? We saw that oftentimes our understanding is kind of backwards and upside down.
Naše razumevanje je lahko in pogosto je na glavo obrnjeno. Na glavo obrnjeno.
And when our perspective is backwards and upside down,
Če je torej tisto, kar vidimo, napačno,
then we respond to things in a backwards way or an upside down way.
mi se odzovemo na to na napačen način.
And it might seem to make sense to us
In se nam lahko zdi, da je to prav,
when it doesn't actually really make sense.
v bistvu pa nima smisla.
And the way that we can tell that something is going wrong
Način, da ugotovimo, da nekaj ne gre, kakor bi moralo,
is that things don't work.
je, da stvari ne delujejo.
Right? So we end up having problems
Ko se začnejo težave,
with the solutions that we try. So we try solutions,
mi poskušamo rešiti stvari na nek način,
but in trying the solution, we end up with more problems.
in ko mi uvedemo neko rešitev, pravzaprav imamo več težav.
Right? And that should cause us to question whether our solution was the solution or not.
In to nas pripravi do tega, da se vprašamo, ali je naša rešitev dejansko rešitev.
Right? And yesterday, we also recognized that our need of love
Ugotovili smo sinoči, da naša potreba po ljubezni
cannot be satisfied by other people
ne more zadovoljiti človek,
because they need love as well.
ker tudi oni potrebujejo ljubezen.
Right? And all of us need love.
Vsi jo potrebujemo.
And everybody that needs something
Če kdo kaj potrebuje,
cannot be the source of what they need.
torej če kdo, ki ima iste potrebe kot mi, ne more biti vir za naše potrebe.
Right? But if it's a need of ours
Če gre za našo potrebo
and there is no source,
in ni vira,
then we all die.
vsi umremo.
Right? So clearly we're alive,
Očitno je, da smo živi,
so there must be a source.
torej mora obstajati vir.
Right? And we saw yesterday that the source of love
Ugotovili smo sinoči, da je vir ljubezni,
must be love,
da mora biti ljubezen,
right? Must not need love,
ne sme potrebovati ljubezni,
meaning that does not need to be loved,
torej ni treba, da bi ga ljubil kdo,
but the source simply gives love.
Ampak ta vir samo daje ljubezen.
right? And always gives love
In vedno jo daje.
because that's what the source is like.
Zato, ker je vir prav takšen.
And I call that source God.
Jaz temu viru pravim Bog.
You can call it whatever you want to,
Vi ga lahko poimenujete drugače.
right? But the source must be exactly what we need
Ampak ta vir mora biti prav to, kar potrebujemo.
and everything that we need.
In mora biti vse, kar potrebujemo.
So you and I, we need love.
Mi potrebujemo torej ljubezen,
So the source must be love.
vir mora biti ljubezen.
We need acceptance.
Potrebujemo sprejemanje
So the source must be accepting.
in ta vir mora biti sprejemajoč.
Right? We need harmony.
Potrebujemo sklad
So the source must be harmonious.
in ta mora biti skladen. Vir.
Right? We need joy.
Potrebujemo veselje
So the source must be joyful.
in vir mora biti vesel.
Right? We need peace.
Potrebujemo mir
And so the source must be peaceful.
in vir mora biti miroljuben.
We need compassion.
Potrebujemo sočutje
And so the source must be compassionate.
in ta vir mora biti sočuten.
We need understanding.
Potrebujemo razumevanje
And so the source must be understanding.
in ta vir mora biti polno razumevanja.
Right? So everything that we need,
Vse, kar potrebujemo,
the source must be.
mora ta vir biti.
Right? And again, I call that source God.
Še enkrat povem, da mu jaz rečem Bog.
Right? And as we saw yesterday,
Kakor smo videli včeraj,
we operate
delujemo
according to a fundamental law,
po temeljnem zakonu,
and everything in nature takes in order to give.
ki pravi, da vse v naravi jemlje, da bi lahko dalo.
So there's a taking
Tu obstaja torej jemanje
and there's a giving.
in tudi dajanje.
And what you take
Tisto, kar sprejmete,
is going to be what you have,
boste imeli,
and what you have,
to, kar imate,
you can now
lahko
give.
tudi date.
Right? And so what you give
Tisto, kar dajete,
is an indication of what you took.
pravzaprav kaže na to, kar ste dobili.
So if you take love,
Če vzamete ljubezen,
well, then you have love,
potem jo imate
and now you can give love.
in jo lahko date k drugemu.
Right? But if you have a source that is angry and frustrated,
Če imate vir, ki je jezen in drugače čuden,
right? And now you take anger and frustration.
vi vzamete frustracijo in jezo,
Now you're angry and frustrated,
imate to, kar vzamete.
and what you give is anger and frustration,
In lahko to dajete naprej.
right?
Jezo in frustracije.
So the source that you have is very important
Zelo pomembno je, kateri vir imate,
because it determines everything,
ker določa vse.
right? Because if you have a source that is, well, if you have a source that is selfish and manipulative,
Če imate vir, ki je sebičen in manipulativen,
well, then you become selfish and
vi
manipulative,
postanete takšni.
right? So it's very important what source we have.
Zelo pomembno je, kaj jemljete kot vir.
And we operate in such a way that what we need must be brought into ourselves,
Mi funkcioniramo tako, da, sorry, once again.
that what we need must be brought into ourselves.
Da moramo, kar potrebujemo, vzeti vase.
And it's our own action that brings it in.
To s svojim dejanjem naredimo.
It's
Popravimo.
it's not somebody else's action that can put what we need into us.
Ne more nihče drug to dati v nas.
Right? I have a wife that is, she's very loving,
Imam zelo ljubečo ženo,
but I had a problem of accepting that love
ampak imam težavo s sprejemanjem te ljubezni.
because I didn't believe that I deserved it.
Ker nisem verjel, da si jo zaslužim.
Because I struggled with a number of addictions,
Jaz sem se mučil z različnimi zasvojenostmi
and I did a number of things to hurt her.
in sem tudi storil več stvari, ki so jo prizadele.
And so even though she might have been trying to love me,
In čeprav je ona mene poskušala ljubiti,
I wasn't taking it.
jaz tega nisem jemal.
Right? And so then I remained empty.
In tako sem ostal prazen.
Right? Now, she wouldn't have everything that I need.
Ona ni imela vsega, kar sem jaz potreboval.
Right? So I needed something else.
Potreboval sem nekaj drugega tudi.
Right? And I finally figured out, well, I needed God,
In sem končno ugotovil, da potrebujem Boga.
or I needed a source that had everything that I need.
Pravzaprav vir potrebujem, sem potreboval, ki ima vse, kar jaz potrebujem.
And we bind ourselves to the source by trust.
Z zaupanjem sva se vezala za ta vir.
And it's by faith or by belief that we take in our
Z vero,
needs.
oziroma s prepričanjem to vzamemo, sva vzela vase.
Now, physical needs, food is taken in by eating.
Telesne potrebe, kot je prehranjevanje, pač zahteva jesti.
Water is taken in by by drinking.
Vodo vzamemo tako, da pijemo,
Right? Air is brought in by breathing.
zrak pa z dihanjem.
But when it comes to the intangible or the spiritual needs,
Ko gre za neotipljive stvari ali duhovne stvari,
they're brought in by belief or by faith.
te sprejmemo s prepričanjem oziroma z vero.
Right? And you and we are self-governing.
Mi imamo samo nadzor,
So we have our own thoughts,
imamo svoje misli,
we have our own beliefs,
verujemo, kar hočemo
we have our own choices,
in izberemo, kar hočemo.
and nothing can take over that control without our consent.
In nič ne more prevzeti nadzora nad nami, razen če ta nadzor prepustimo nekomu.
Right? And it's so us that must reach out and bring things in.
Zato mi moramo seči ven in vzeti stvari vase.
And when what we bring in is what we need,
Ko sprejmemo tisto, kar potrebujemo,
then it's pleasurable.
nam to da užitek.
And when we give
In ko
those
dajemo
good things,
te dobre stvari,
it's pleasurable as well.
to tudi daje užitek.
Right? So you get pleasure taking it in,
Uživate, ko vzamete, jemljete,
and you get pleasure giving it away.
in prav tako, ko dajete.
Right? It's like a double. It's doubly good.
V dvojnem smislu je to dobro.
Right? Now, what we saw yesterday
Včeraj smo ugotovili tudi,
is that there's a lot of things that we do that don't seem to make sense.
da počnemo dosti tega, kar se zdi nesmiselno.
Right? Anybody here ever tried to control another person in your family?
Ali je kdo poskušal imeti nadzor nad kakšnim družinskim članom?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have my hand up.
Jaz sem dvignil roko. Anja tudi.
Right? Because I have spent my life trying to control my children.
Jaz sem vse življenje poskušal nadzorovati moje otroke,
Right? And I've tried to control my spouse.
mojo ženo,
But that's not all. I try to control my friends.
ampak to ni vse, nisem se ustavil tam.
Right?
Tudi
And
prijatelje sem
I try to
poskušal,
control others.
druge.
But we all function by self-governing
Ampak mi delujemo tako, da določamo sami, kar se bo zgodilo.
and not by being governed from the outside.
Ne tako, da nekdo drugi upravlja z nami.
So what makes us try to control somebody else,
Zakaj bi potem mi želeli nadzorovati koga drugega?
and what makes it so that we can't control ourselves?
In kaj je razlog, da ne moremo nadzorovati same sebe?
Right? Because I mean, a lot of people struggle with addictions,
Mnogi ljudje se bojujejo zasvojenostjo.
and nobody has an addiction that wants to have an addiction.
In kdorkoli je zasvojen, ne želi biti zasvojen.
Right? So it's something that shows us that we're out of control.
To nam kaže, da nimamo nadzora.
Right? So why do we get out of control
Zakaj ga nimamo?
when it comes to ourselves,
Ko gre za nas,
but then we try to control others?
ampak poskušamo nadzorovati druge.
Why do we get frustrated with people?
Zakaj nam gredo na živce ljudje?
Why do we get upset at them?
Zakaj se jezimo na nje?
Right? Why?
Zakaj?
Right? Well, we're going to talk about that
O
now.
tem se bomo pogovarjali nocoj.
Right? Because we need to understand the problem
Moramo razumeti težavo,
so that we can understand the solution to the problem.
da bi lahko našli rešitev za to težavo.
And I apologize, but tonight we're not going to get into the solution.
Jaz se opravičujem, danes še ne bomo prišli do rešitve.
We're going to seek to understand the problem so that we can understand why the solution has to be the way that it is.
Se bomo ukvarjali s težavo, da bi ugotovili, zakaj rešitev mora biti prav takšna.
And to understand the problem,
Da bi razumeli težavo,
we need to go back to a really old story.
se moramo pozabavati z zelo staro
Right.
zgodbo.
And I know most people in the world have heard the story at least.
Jaz sem prepričan, da je večina ljudi na svetu vsaj slišala za to zgodbo.
And there was a man and a woman in a garden.
To je zgodba o moškemu, o ženski in o vrtu.
Right? And the man's name was Adam.
Njegovo ime je bilo Adam,
And the woman's name was Eve.
ženi pa Eva.
Right? And not only were there a man and a woman in the garden,
Nista bila samo moški in ženska v vrtu,
but there were some trees,
ampak je bilo nekaj dreves
and there was a serpent.
in je bila kača.
Right? And we find the beginning of the problem there.
Začetek težave je tam.
And we'll just read a little bit about the problem.
Nekaj o tej zadevi bomo prebrali. Zmaj je bil bolj premeten kot vse živali na polju, ki jih je ustvaril Gospod Bog. In rekel je ženi, ali je Bog res rekel, da ne smeta jesti iz nobenega drevesa v vrtu?
Now, just as a reminder, there were lots of trees to eat from.
Naj vas samo spomnim, bilo je veliko dreves, katerih bi jedla.
And
Lahko jedla.
there were two special trees in the center of this garden.
V središču vrta sta bila dve posebni drevesi sta bili.
One was called the tree of life,
Enemu se je reklo drevo življenja,
right? And the other one we could call the tree of death,
drugemu lahko rečemo drevo smrti.
right? And so God was saying, if you eat from one,
Bog je rekel, če z enega bosta jedla,
oh, you can live.
lahko živita.
If you eat from the other one,
Če bosta jedla z drugega drevesa,
well, you're not going to live,
ne bosta živela.
right? Now, it might seem, weird. Why would you do that?
Morda se vam zdi čudno, da je rekel prav tako, zakaj bi to naredil?
Well, the reason is because something had already happened previously,
Razlog za to je bilo, da se je nekaj že prej zgodilo.
and one of God's other creatures had already rebelled,
Neko drugo božje stvarstvo se je uprlo že prej.
and he had made accusations against God's government,
In je tudi obtožil Boga, božjo vladavino,
and he said, I've got a better way to govern things than God does.
in predlagal, da je njegova rešitev boljša od božje.
Right? And God is smart,
Bog je pameten
and so you don't fight argument with argument.
in vi na argument ne sežete po protiargumentu.
Because if you win an argument by arguing,
Če zmagate s tem, da z dokazi,
you don't really argue anything. I mean, you don't really win anything,
pravzaprav ne zmagate.
right? So the argument needs to be won by demonstration.
Spopad ali razprava,
With demonstration,
s tem, da se nekaj pokaže.
right? So instead of saying, okay, no, my way's better, your way's not so better,
Torej, Bog ni rekel, moja pot, moj način je boljši od tvojega.
God said, okay, you can do your way and show us how it's better.
Bog je rekel, je prav, pa pokaži, na kakšen način je tvoja pot boljša.
Right? Well, that ended up in revolt and so on.
To je vodilo v ustajo
And
in tako naprej.
so there was already a question called in regards to God's goodness.
Torej je bilo že prej zastavljeno vprašanje o božji dobroti.
And so God, to be fair,
Da bi Bog pokazal poštenost,
he said, okay, well, you can present your perspective to Adam and Eve,
rekel je prav, lahko predstaviš svoje videnje Adamu in Evi.
but you can only do so at this place,
Ampak to lahko narediš samo tukaj.
only if they choose to go there.
Samo, če ona da pridete tja.
Right? And so God said, stay away.
In tako je Bog rekel Adamu in Evi, pustite to
It's
pri
going to
meni.
be a problem.
Tam bo do težave.
Right? Because ultimately, if you eat from this tree,
Ker če bosta jedla z tega drevesa,
you're going to separate yourself from the source of life,
se bosta ločila od vira življenja
and the result is death.
in posledica tega je smrt.
Right? So here you have the serpent
Tukaj imate kačo,
who is now saying to Eve,
ki pravi Evi,
did God create something bad?
Ali je Bog ustvaril kaj slabega?
Right? Did he create something bad?
Ali je njegovo stvarstvo udelno slabo?
Now, it seems like an innocent enough question,
Zdi se, da je to nedolžno vprašanje.
right? But it was a trap,
Ampak je bila past.
right? Because if she answers, well, yes, he did create something bad,
Če bi ona odgovorila, ja, ustvaril nekaj slabega,
because the tree of death is bad,
drevo, ki povzroča smrt, je slabo,
well, then obviously God is the source of bad,
bi Bog bil vir slabega.
and God must be bad.
In potem je na ta način je Bog slab.
And if she says, well, no, he didn't create anything bad,
Če bi rekla, ne, ni ustvaril ničesar slabega,
the tree is actually good,
drevo je dobro,
then the serpent would say, well, if he's withholding from you something that's good, then he must be bad.
bi kača rekla, če on vama preprečuje dostop do ničesa dobrega, mora biti on slab.
Right? So anyway she answers,
Kakorkoli bi odgovorila,
God ends up being bad.
postane Bog, je naslikan kot slab.
Right? So it probably would have been best if she just would have turned around and walked away.
Problem bi rešila s tem, da bi se obrnila proč in šla.
But she had a conversation.
Ampak se je zapletla v pogovor. In žena je rekla kači, od sadu drevja v vrtu jeva, le z drevesa sredi vrta je rekel Bog, ne jejta sadu, tudi ne dotikajta se ga ne, sicer bosta umrla.
Yes, and the serpent probably said something like,
Kača je rekla nekaj takega.
oh, I came to this tree weeks ago
Jaz sem že tedne nazaj prišla do tega drevesa
and I ate its fruit.
in sem pojedla sadež.
And the moment that I did so,
V tem hipu
I got powers that I didn't know were even possible.
sem dobila moči, za katere nisem niti mislila, da so možne.
And God knows that when you eat this fruit,
In Bog ve, da če bosta vidva jedla sad,
you are greater than me at your creation.
vi ste višjega reda stvarstva kot jaz,
So when you eat this fruit,
ko bosta torej vidva jedla,
you will be like God.
vidva bosta kakor Bog.
Oh, and by the way, you're not going to die.
Mimo grede, ne bosta niti umrla.
Right? So it actually says,
On je pravzaprav rekel tako, nikakor ne bosta umrla. V resnici Bog ve, da bi se vama tisti dan, ko bi jedla z njega, odprle oči in bi postala kakor Bog, poznala bi dobro in hudo.
right? So here was introduced another idea.
Zdaj je tukaj upeljana nova zamisel.
And the idea was a very interesting idea
To je bila zelo zanimiva zamisel.
because you and I, we govern ourselves according to our identity.
Mi sami sebe nadzorujemo glede na to, kdo smo, glede na našo identiteto.
So what we understand ourselves to be
Tisto, kakor se pojmujemo sami,
drives what we do.
vodi, kar delamo.
What happens
Kaj se zgodi,
if we get confused
če smo zmedeni
and we begin to think that we are something that we're not?
in začnemo misliti, da smo nekaj, kar nismo?
It will affect all of our self-government.
To bo vplivalo na naš samonadzor.
It'll affect
vsakem smislu.
it'll affect our thoughts.
Naše misli,
It'll affect our choices.
našo izbiro,
It'll affect our perspectives.
imelo bo vpliv na našo perspektivo.
Right? So, God gives us the freedom to control or govern ourselves.
Bog nam daje svobodo, da se nadzorujemo sami.
And to what extent that He gives us that freedom,
V smislu, v katerem on nam svobodo daje,
God has no control there.
v tem smislu on nima nadzora nad nami.
Right? What He gives me control of, He doesn't have control of.
Če meni prepusti nadzor, on ga nima potem v tem istem.
And rebellion could only happen where God had no control.
Upor se lahko zgodi samo, če Bog nima nadzora.
Right? And so it could only happen in the self-government of an individual.
Torej se lahko zgodi na področju samonadzora posameznika.
And because we govern ourselves according to our identity,
Torej, ker sami vodimo svoje življenje na podlagi tega, za kar se imamo,
then the deception had to address our identity.
se mora zmota, s katero smo napadeni, se mora nanašati na našo identiteto.
And now the creature, the individual,
Zdaj stvarstvo oziroma posameznik
must believe something about themselves that is impossible.
mora verjeti nekaj o sebi, kar je nemogoče.
Right? And it's a fundamental issue
To je temeljna zadeva
and it's an identity problem.
in težava z identiteto.
And this is the identity that Adam and Eve fell into
Adam in Eva sta začela verjeti nekaj drugega. Torej.
at that time of the temptation.
Prav v trenutku skušnjave.
And it is this,
Gre za to.
that the individual
Oseba
believes that they are a god,
začne misliti, da je Bog.
right? Because that's what the serpent told her.
Prav to je povedala kača.
You will be like,
Bosta kakor
God.
Bog.
right? So that's the delusion.
To je ta napačna predstava.
Now, nobody goes, well, I shouldn't say that. Most people do not go around thinking, oh, I'm God.
Večina ljudi ne gre okoli s to mislijo ali besedo, jaz sem
Right?
Bog.
Now, I've met a few people that believe that they are,
Srečal sem nekaj ljudi, ki mislijo tako.
right? And it's usually in a closed room,
To je v neki zaprti sobi
and I'm the doctor and I'm examining them,
in jaz sem zdravnik in
Right.
pregledujem ju.
and they believe that they have certain superpowers.
In oni menijo, da imajo neke nadnaravne moči.
You know, you get the idea,
Razumete, v katerem okolju je to?
right? So there's a little, you know, psychosis that's going on,
Gre za neko psihozo.
right? But this idea,
Ta zamisel
it was, when was it? It was 10 years ago
10 let nazaj
that, that somebody presented this idea to me.
je nekdo, torej 10 let nazaj je nekdo govoril meni o teh stvareh.
And I was like,
Jaz sem rekel, ne.
no, I don't believe that I'm God.
Jaz ne verjamem, da sem Bog.
And then they started giving me evidences
Potem so mi začeli dajati dokaze o tem,
of what it looks like in the life of one
kako se vidi v življenju nekoga,
who is not God but believes that they are.
ki ni Bog, ampak veruje, da je.
And I started looking at the evidences and I was like, yep, that's there.
Jaz sem začel gledati dokaze in sem rekel, glej, tam je.
Yeah, that's there.
Tudi to je.
Yeah, that's there.
Prepoznam to.
Yeah, that's there.
Tudi to.
Oh, yeah, that's there.
Še kaj?
Really?
Ali res?
You know, I struggled with this,
Mučil sem se s tem.
right? So if you struggle with it, yeah, I understand.
Če se mučite s to zamislijo, vas razumem.
But if I believe that I am God,
Če verjamem, da sem Bog,
then I believe that I am my own,
potem menim, da sem sam svoj gospodar.
right? And if I am my own,
In če sem sam svoj,
then I'm a producer.
jaz sem proizvajalec,
I'm a creator,
stvarnik.
right? Things come from me.
Jaz sem vir stvari, oziroma ljudje, stvari se dogajajo od mene naprej.
And so I can produce my own love,
Tako jaz proizvedem ljubezen
and now I can love others with my love.
in lahko ljubim ljudi s svojo ljubeznijo.
And I can produce my own understanding,
Lahko proizvedem svoje razumevanje
and I can understand others with my
in
understanding.
s tem razumevanjem razumem druge.
And I can produce my own respect,
Proizvedem spoštovanje
and I can respect others with my respect.
in druge ljudi spoštujem s tem mojim
Right.
spoštovanjem.
And if I am my own,
Če sem sam svoj,
then what others say and what they do,
karkoli ljudje rečejo ali storijo,
it's against me if it's
je-
not good,
naperjeno proti meni, če ni dobro.
right? So now I take things personal,
Zdaj jemljem stvari osebno
and I have expectations from others
in od drugih pričakujem,
that if I love them,
da če jih ljubim jaz,
they should love me in return.
oni morajo v povračilo ljubiti mene.
And if I respect them,
Če jih spoštujem,
they should respect me
naj
in
oni
return.
spoštujejo mene.
And as much as I put into somebody else,
In če kolikor dam jaz vložim v koga drugega,
I expect at least as much back.
vsaj toliko pričakujem nazaj v povračilo.
So my love
Torej, moja ljubezen,
is actually giving in order to receive.
jaz jim dajem ljubezen, da bi nekaj prejel.
And as long as I am receiving, I'm okay.
In jaz sem zadovoljen, doklerkoli dobivam.
But if I give
Če pa dam,
and I don't receive,
a ne dobim,
it's not okay,
to ni dobro.
right? Now, in English, we love to say, I love you,
V angleščini se veliko krat reče I love you.
right? But
Ljubim te.
Right.
Imam te rad.
right? And we love saying it.
Radi to rečemo.
I love you.
Ljubim, imam te rad.
As long as
Doklerkoli
they say,
oni rečejo,
I love you too.
tudi jaz tebe.
Right? So if you say, I love you,
Če rečete, imam te rad,
and they say, I love you too,
in oni ti rečejo, jaz tebe tudi,
that's nice.
vse je lepo.
Right? But if I say, I love you,
Če pa jaz rečem, imam te rad,
and you say, okay,
in vi rečete prav.
and I say, I love you,
In jaz še enkrat rečem, imam te rad,
and you say, whatever.
in ti rečem, kaj potem?
And if I say, I love you,
In rečem, imam te rad,
and you say, well, that's your problem,
in ti rečeš, to je tvoja težava.
right? Well, now it's not going so well.
Zdaj se stvari ne dogajajo tako, kot bi hotel.
And I'm not very happy
Jaz nisem preveč srečen, zadovoljen,
because I'm not getting any love back.
ker ne dobivam v povračilu nobene ljubezni.
I'm very happy to give attention
Jaz sem zelo vesel, da če dajem pozornost,
as long as I get attention back.
če dobim pozornost od drugih.
I'm happy giving respect
Zadovoljen sem, da bi dal,
as long as I get
spoštovanje
respect
drugih,
back.
če me spoštuje nazaj.
And I'm happy to give love
In tudi rad dajem ljubezen,
as long as I get it back.
doklerkoli me ljubijo drugi.
And if I don't get it back,
Če pa ne, kako se to
so
prevede?
who is my giving for? Is my giving for you,
Za koga je moje dajanje? Ali za vas,
or is my giving for me?
ali je moje dajanje usmerjeno vame?
Oh. My giving is for me.
Dajem zaradi sebe.
Right? I can look very generous,
Lahko sem morda videti zelo radodaren
and I can think that I'm very generous,
in morda mislim, da sem radodaren.
but I don't know
Ne vem pa,
until
vse dokler
things don't go well.
se stvari ne zataknejo.
Then, when it doesn't go well,
Ko se pa zataknejo,
how I respond at those times
moj odziv v tem trenutku
shows me why I was giving.
meni kaže, zakaj sem dajal prej.
Was I really giving for you,
Ali sem res dajal zate,
or was I actually giving for me?
ali sem dajal zaradi sebe samega.
Right? And when I heard this 10 years ago,
Ko sem to slišal 10 let nazaj,
I was not happy.
nisem bil srečen.
Because if I was honest with myself,
Če sem hotel biti pošten do sebe,
I recognized myself in that scenario.
sem sebe prepoznal v tem scenariju.
And I was like, all right, you're telling me I'm selfish.
Torej mi govoriš, da sem sebičen.
I don't like that.
Ne maram tega.
But I couldn't deny the evidence.
Vendar dokazov nisem mogel vreči.
And that was my problem.
In to je bila moja
I
težava.
was, I don't like this.
Ne maram tega.
Right? Now, if I believe that I'm God,
Če verjamem, da sem Bog,
now I make myself dependent upon others.
postajam oziroma sem se naredil odvisnega od drugih.
Because I cut myself off from God as a source,
Ko sem se odrezal od vira, od božanskega vira,
but I still need a source.
pa vendar potrebujem vir,
So the easiest source to take is other people,
lažje je potem za vir poiskati ljudi.
right? Especially the ones that are the closest,
Posebno tisti, ki so najbliže.
right? So mommy and daddy and siblings and,
Mami in ati, tata,
right? And,
bratje, sestre
right? And children
in
and
otroci,
spouse,
žena, mož.
you know? And now, if they're up,
Če so oni gor,
I can be up.
jaz sem tudi pokončen.
And if they're down,
Če so oni slabe razpoloženje,
I'm down.
tudi jaz sem.
And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy,
Kot smo rekli včeraj, če mama ni sreča, nihče ni.
right? Because everybody's got mommy as their source.
Ker vsak ima mater za vir.
And if she's upside down,
In če je ona narobe obrnjena,
everybody's upside down,
vse je narobe.
right? And so we find ourselves a slave to others,
Torej postajamo sužnji drugih.
and we need them to be okay in order for us to be okay.
In mi potrebujemo, da je z njimi vse v redu, da bi z nami bilo lahko vse v redu.
And so when they're not okay,
In ker oni niso v dobrem stanju,
we either have to try to fix them,
mi jih poskušamo ali popraviti,
or we have to separate ourselves from
ali se
them,
ločujemo od njih.
right? Those are our two options.
Te dve možnosti imamo.
And that goes into every relationship,
In to se nanaša na vsak odnos.
right? And now I expect good from others
Torej pričakujem dobro od drugih,
because I need good,
ker potrebujem dobro.
right? I was created by a good God for good,
Ustvaril me je dobri Bog za dobro.
and I can't need anything other than good.
Ne morem si želeti ničesar drugega kot dobro.
So now if I go to another person as my source,
Če potem se približam drugemu človeku, da bi bil moj vir,
I need them to be good.
morajo biti dobri.
And as long as they're good,
In če so,
I'm good.
tudi jaz sem.
But if they're not good,
Če pa oni niso,
oh, there's frustration,
potem sem frustriran.
right? There's upset.
Pride jeza.
And now you got to figure out how to make them good,
In zdaj se morate vedeti, kako jih popraviti.
right? So now manipulation comes into,
Tukaj pride manipulacija.
you know, and manipulation can be really nice,
Manipulacija je morda lepo izvedena,
right? You can give lots of compliments,
lahko veliko komplimentov
and you
dajete
can
drugim
be very encouraging,
in lahko jih podpirate,
but for the sake that your source can be good,
ampak samo zaradi tega, da bi ta vir bil dober,
so that you can get good from your source.
da vam daje potem dobro.
Because when your source crashes,
Ker če vaš vir pade,
you know you're going on the roller coaster with them,
vi veste, da se podajate z njimi na isto pot.
right? And now everything's about me,
Torej, zdaj je vse okoli mene.
right? So what somebody else says and what they do
To, kar drugi reče ali naredi,
and how they say it and how they
in
do it,
kako to reče in naredi,
now it's about me.
je osredotočeno name.
So their problem becomes my problem.
Njihove težave postanejo moje težave.
And now I start carrying this person's problem,
In jaz nosim potem težave drugih ljudi,
and I carry that person's
enega,
problem,
drugega,
and I carry that person's
koga.
problem, and I take personally what other people say and what they do.
in vse, kar oni rečejo in naredijo, vzamem osebno.
Oh, it's a mess,
To je zmešnjava.
right? And now if I'm a little God,
Če sem ja majhen Bog,
then I'm the owner.
jaz sem lastnik potem.
So things belong to me,
Stvari pripadajo meni.
possessions, money,
Imetje, denar,
this body,
moje telo,
capabilities,
sposobnosti,
right? Relationships,
odnosi,
right? It all belongs to
vse
me.
pripada meni.
And if something happens to it,
Če se tem stvarem zgodi kaj,
if it's damaged or injured,
če so poškodovane
right? If it's destroyed or it
Uničene.
dies or it walks away,
ali odidejo,
right? Then it's my loss.
potem jaz to čutim kot izgubo.
And now I'm subject to personal loss,
Torej sem izpostavljen osebni izgubi
and I can't control whether I'm at loss or not,
in ne morem nadzorovati tega, ali bom v izgubi ali ne.
because my loss and my gain is dependent upon how somebody else
Ker moj
behaves
dobiček ali izguba je odvisna od tega, kako se vedejo drugi ljudje.
or what happens to something that I cannot control.
Oziroma, kaj se zgodi tam, ker jaz nimam nadzora.
And now it's my problem,
Torej, postane moja težava.
and so I'm the one that has to fix it.
In jaz moram tudi popravljati stvari.
Right? And in order to fix it,
Da bi to naredil,
I have to try to control space,
moram kontrolirati prostor,
and time,
čas, kontrolirati
circumstances,
okoliščine,
finances,
Finance.
information,
podatke,
people,
ljudi,
and so on, in order to fix the problem.
in da bi rešil problem.
And I
to
can't
počnem.
control any of those things,
Ne morem kontrolirati ničesar.
so I can't fix the problem.
Torej, ne morem niti urediti stvari.
And now I'm left in stress.
Zdaj sem v stresu.
Right? And then I become a little judge,
Takrat postanem sodnik, majhen sodnik.
and I judge others,
Sodim druge,
and I judge myself,
tudi sebe.
and I'm a really good judge.
In sem dober sodnik.
So I condemn,
Zato obsodim.
and I condemn you,
In obsodim tebe
and I condemn me,
in sebe.
and so I have resentment and bitterness,
Potem imam grenkobo in tudi jezo
and I have guilt.
in občutek krivde.
Welcome to a creature believing that they're God.
Zdaj sem vam predstavil osebo, ki veruje, da je Bog.
It's a mess.
Zmešnjava do konca.
It's a mess, right? Now, how many of us asked for this?
Kdo je hotel, da bi se to zgodilo od nas.
Yeah, I want to sign up for that.
Jaz želim, da bi bilo tako.
No,
Ne.
no. Do we have to choose our way into this?
Ali moramo izbrati pot, svojo pot,
Or does it come kind of naturally?
ali pride nekako naravno.
Right. Yeah, okay. So, when Adam and Eve accepted that deception,
Ko sta Adam in Eva sprejela prevaro, to prevaro,
they entered into a delusional state
sta prišla v stanje, v katerem nista gledala stvari prav.
where immediately they began to see things backwards,
In sta isti hip začela gledati stvari narobe.
right? Now, they were created for good.
Bila sta ustvarjena za dobro,
They were created for wisdom.
za modrost,
They were created for life,
za življenje.
right? They were created for growth,
Ustvarjena sta bila, da rasteta.
right? And it's interesting that when Eve went to eat the fruit,
Zanimivo je, da ko je Eva šla, da bi vzela sadež,
that God said would bring death,
za katerega je Bog rekel, da bo prinesla smrt,
she thought it would bring life.
je mislila, da bo tako dobila življenje,
She thought it would give her wisdom.
da bo dobila na ta način modrost.
She thought it was good.
Mislila, da je dobro.
And so she still continued to go after
In še vedno je iskala potem
what she was created to go after,
tisto, za kar je bila ustvarjena, da bi segala potem.
but now she was in a delusion
Ampak zdaj je bila v spremenjenem stanju,
where when what she thought was over there
da je mislila, da ko je mislila, da je nekaj tam,
was actually over here.
je bilo na drugi strani.
And so she's going in the wrong direction,
In se je podala v napačno smer,
thinking she's going in the right direction,
misleč, da gre v pravo smer.
right? And that's a problem,
In to je težava.
right? And based upon the perceptions,
Na podlagi dojemanja
you speak, you
govorite,
act,
delate,
you respond,
se odzivate,
right? But at the moment, they couldn't see that they had a problem,
ampak v tem trenutku ona dva nista mogla videti, da imata težavo.
right? As long as they could remain in the garden,
Doklerkoli sta lahko ostala na vrtu,
as long as everything went the way that it did before,
doklerkoli se je dogajalo tako, kot se je dogajalo prej,
they would never know that they have a problem.
če bi bilo tako, ne bi vedela, da imata težavo.
Now, the nature of a delusional state is that the one that's delusional never knows that they're delusional.
Problem s to napačno predstavo je, da v takšnem stanju ne moreš vedeti, da si v napačnem stanju.
Right? And the person that believes that giant insects are crawling out of the wall ready to eat them
Če človek misli, da velike žuželke prihajajo iz stene z željo, da bi jih pojedle,
right? They're just as afraid,
ljudje so prav tako v strahu,
right, as if real insects were coming out of the wall to
kakor
eat
da bi bilo to
them,
res.
right? So you don't actually have to be in danger to be afraid.
Ne rabite biti v nevarnosti, da bi se bali.
You only have to believe that you're in danger.
Dovolj je, da verjamete, da ste v nevarnosti.
And there's some people that believe they're in danger all the time
Nekateri ljudje verjamejo, da so v nevarnosti ves čas
and they hide in their house.
in se zaprejo v svojo hišo.
And even the house might be dangerous, so they hide in their room.
Ampak tudi hiša je nevarna, zato se zaprejo v sobo.
You know, I know somebody, he's not left his room for his room and the bathroom for 4 years.
Jaz poznam nekoga, ki ni zapustil svoje sobe oziroma sobe in stranišča 4 leta,
Because he has so much fear,
ker se je tako bal.
right? So family will go shopping, family will get things and so on
Njegovi
and so
bližnji
forth.
so šli po nakupih za njega in vse ostalo.
But he stays where he is because of fear.
Ampak on je ostal tam, ker je zaradi strahu.
Does he really have something to fear like that?
Ali se je imel česa bati na ta način?
No,
Ne.
but that's his perception.
To je njegovo gledanje, videnje.
And so his perception drives his actions.
In to, kar je on verjel, je vplivalo na njegova dejanja.
So we do not necessarily respond according to reality.
Torej se lahko odzivamo ne nujno na to, kar je res,
We respond according to perception.
ampak se odzivamo na podlagi tega, kar sami mislimo.
And the only time that we respond according to reality
In edino takrat reagiramo na tisto, kar je res,
is when perception and reality are the same.
ko sta naša percepcija in resničnost eno.
Right? Oh. So if we govern ourselves according to identity,
Če imamo samo nadzor glede na to, kdo smo,
well, then if we have the wrong identity,
če imamo napačen pogled na svojo identiteto,
now we're going to govern ourselves differently.
se bomo nadzorovali na napačen način.
Right? And with Adam and Eve, the other information came from the serpent.
Druge informacije v primeru Adama in Eve so prišle od kača.
Right? Another name is Satan, or the accuser.
Drugo ime je Satan oziroma tožilec.
Right? And because in the original language it means accuser.
V originalu to pomeni tožnik.
Right? So now they switched their trust from God to another source.
Torej je zaupanje zdaj bilo usmerjeno v drugi vir.
And now their faith takes from that other source.
In vera je bila zaupanje v ta drugi vir.
But instead of taking truth,
Ampak nista dobila in jemala resnice,
now they're taking error.
ampak laž.
And that is not going to bring pleasure.
To pa ni prihajalo in ne bo prinašalo užitek,
It's going to result in suffering.
ampak trpljenje.
And now, instead of giving out of the fullness that you have,
Namesto da bi dajali od polnosti, ki jo imate,
now you're running empty.
ste prazni
And so instead of giving,
in namesto da dajete,
you invest.
investirate.
And investing
Investirati pomeni,
means that you put something of value in something else,
da neko vrednost dajete nekam,
but you do so with the expectation that you're going to get something of greater value back.
ampak to delate v pričakovanju, da boste dobili še večjo vrednost nazaj.
And so now all of my giving is actually for me.
In zdaj je vse moje dajanje pravzaprav usmerjeno, da dobim.
Right? So this is the problem,
To je težava.
and this is what Adam and Eve fell into many, many, many years ago.
Mnogo let nazaj sta v to težavo padla Adam in Eva.
And I call this a fallen nature.
Temu rečem padla narava.
You can call it whatever you want to.
Vi lahko rečete, kakor želite.
Right. Now, the question is, how many people that you run into
Koliko ljudi, to je vprašanje zdaj, ki ste jih srečali,
have this problem?
ima to isto težavo?
All you have to do is go to the place where there's a mirror.
Dovolj je, da greste v sobo, kjer je ogledalo.
Right? But you see it in your parents.
Ampak vidite to tudi v svojih
You
starših,
see it in your siblings.
v svojih bratih, sestrah,
You see it in your children.
v otrocih,
You see it in your friends.
v prijatelju,
You see it in your spouse.
v svojem zakonskem tovarišu,
You see it in your spouse.
v svoji ženi možu.
And you see it in your spouse.
To vidite večkrat pri tem, ki je blizu.
Right?
I didn't get it.
So, did we get it? Did we have to learn it and then we got it when we were adults?
Ali ste se tega morali naučiti, ko ste odrasli?
Or do you even see it in the little ones?
Ali pa to isto vidite v
Right?
otrocih, majhnih otrocih?
Right? Is the baby like, oh, mommy, I know that you're so tired. I'm just going to leave you for a little while so you can get some extra sleep.
Ali dojenček misli, mama, vem, da si se tako trudila in tako si utrujena, jaz bom zdaj tiho, da se lahko spočiješ.
Yes, I know you have something important to do right now, and
Vem,
so
da bi morala nekaj pomembnega narediti,
I'll hold off on my hunger for another 2 minutes.
jaz se bom zadrževal 2 minuti, da ne bom jedel.
Right? Or is it all me, all right now?
Ali slišite nekaj drugega? Jaz sem pomemben in sicer zdaj.
Yeah, you know. And is there any blame for that?
Ali lahko koga obtožimo za to? Ali je kriv?
No,
Ne,
no, not at all.
sploh ne.
Right? None. None whatsoever.
Niti slučajno ne.
Of course, we could ask ourselves the question, is it even back here?
Lahko si zastavimo vprašanje, ali je to isto, ali je ta ista situacija
Right?
med nosečnostjo.
So, how did this problem go from 2 people
Kako se je torej ta težava razširila iz 2
to 8 billion people?
na 8 milijard ljudi?
Right? Well, it's by inheritance.
To je po dednosti.
Right? Now,
Dedovanje.
it's not only the way that you and I understand inheritance.
I'm sorry.
It's not only the way that we have understood inheritance.
Ne gre samo za to, da tako mi pojmujemo dedovanje.
Yes, we have a father
Imamo očeta
and we have a mother,
in mater.
and father and mother have genetic material,
Oba imata genski material,
right?
snov,
And you get half of your genetic material from your father,
polovico dobite od svojega očeta
right? And you get half of your genetic material from your mother,
in drugo polovico od svoje od
right?
matere.
And so that it's information in a physical form.
To so podatki, informacije v fizični obliki.
Amazingly complex and compact information,
To je silno zapleteno in kompaktno.
right? And anyways, so that physical information
Torej, ta fizična informacija
serves as the blueprint
je načrt,
for the development of the body,
da bi se telo lahko razvilo.
right? Each different cell,
Vsaka različna celica
the different components of the cells,
in deli v celice
and the things that the cells produce.
in tudi tisto, kar celice proizvajajo.
All of that is there in the genetic material.
Vse je to v tem genskem zapisu.
But there are a lot of things that we have been told
Ampak za mnoge stvari smo slišali,
that comes from the genetic material,
da prihajajo iz tega vira,
but it doesn't come from the genetic material,
vendar ni res.
right? In reality,
Ja.
right? And the misunderstanding is this.
Napačno pojmovanje je v tem.
There's a prominent idea in the world
V svetu je razširjena ta ideja,
that everything is physical,
da je vse fizično.
and everything began as physical,
Vse se je začelo kot fizično.
and that once matter, matter can organize itself,
Snov se lahko organizira
right? Matter can regulate itself,
in urejuje, kar je treba.
right?
Sama sebe.
And when matter organizes itself into a complex enough system,
Ko se snov organizira v zadostno kompleksen sistem,
right? Then it generates life.
proizvede življenje.
So life is an effect of matter.
Torej je posledica snovi življenje.
Right? And then when it becomes more complex,
In potem se že bolj zapletejo stvari,
then
postanejo zapletene.
eventually you can have thought,
In na koncu imate misel.
right? And when it becomes more complex,
In ko je to še bolj zapleteno,
then you can have reason and understanding
imate
and
razum in razumevanje,
morality and
moralo
whatever,
in
right?
vse to.
Yeah, so all of those things are the effect of the
Vse
complexity of matter.
posledica kompleksne materije, snovi.
But that's not taking into consideration that you and I are not just matter,
Ampak to ne upošteva dejstva, da mi nismo samo snovni,
but we also are composed of spirit,
ampak smo tudi duhovna bitja.
right? And guess what?
Uganite zdaj.
Your father
Predstavljajte si.
your father had body and spirit,
Vaš oče je imel telo in duha,
and your mother had body and spirit,
vaša mati je imela telo in duha,
and the body is material,
telo je materialno,
and
snovno,
the spirit is immaterial,
duhovno pa je nematerialno.
right? So there's physical information,
In ta fizična informacija zdaj,
but there's also spiritual information.
obstaja fizična in tudi duhovna informacija.
And God created humans
Bog je ustvaril človeka
and other animals
in
and
živali
plants and so
in
on
tudi rastline in vse to
with the capacity
z možnostjo,
to reproduce,
da se reproduciramo.
right? And maybe some people have the idea that every time there's a baby,
Morda nekateri mislijo, da kadarkoli se rodi, spočne verjetno dojenček,
right, there might be a new spirit put in the baby,
da potem nekdo da novega duha v otroka.
but no, God created a process
Ampak ne, Bog je ustvaril proces,
by which the physical information from mother and father can join together,
po katerem se fizična komponenta matere in očeta združita
and you have a different body,
in vi dobite drugačno telo,
but also that the spiritual information from father and mother comes together,
ampak tudi duhovna informacija s strani očeta in matere se združita,
so that you are an individual.
da ste osebnost.
But the information came from your parents.
Ampak informacije so prišle od staršev.
And that's why
Zato
you act in certain ways like your parents act.
ravnate v nekem smislu tako, kot ravnata starša.
The physical information,
Telesna informacija
it gives you the characteristics physically
vas naredi, da imate takšne lastnosti,
so that you look like you came from your father and your mother.
da sta tudi videti, kot da sta prišla od očeta in matere.
But the spiritual information gives the spiritual characteristics
Ampak duhovna informacija se nanaša na te duhovne karakteristike.
of the strengths,
Moči
the weaknesses
ali pa šibkosti
of your parents.
obeh staršev.
And you don't get every weakness of your mother
In vi ne dobite vsako šibkost svoje matere
or your father,
ali očeta,
right? And because you don't get all of their information,
ker ne dobite vseh njunih informacij.
you only get part of their
Samo
information,
del dobite.
right? So you'll get some from mom and you'll get some from
Nekaj dobite od
dad,
očeta, nekaj od mame.
right? And so half of the information comes from father and half of it comes from
Polovica
mother.
materijala je od očeta, polovica od matere.
And guess what?
In kaj?
They had the fallen nature.
Oba sta imela padlo naravo.
And guess what they give you?
In pomislite, kaj sta vam dala.
Yeah, you get it too.
Vi jo
Ne?
imate tudi.
So you get a half copy from dad and you get a half
Polovico
copy
kopije
from
imate,
mom.
vi ste polovica kopija očeta,
You
polovica matere.
didn't have to ask for it.
Niste prosili za to.
You just got it,
Dobili ste to.
right? And you grow up with it.
In s tem ste zrasli.
And so Adam and Eve, they had it,
Tako ste imeli Adam in Eva
and they passed it on to their
in
children,
sta prenesla svojim
and their children passed it on to their
in
children,
ti svojim otrokom
and their children passed it on to their
in
children
po rodovih naprej.
until today,
Do danes.
right? And so every one of us are born with the problem.
Torej se vsak od nas rodi s težavo.
So we don't have to ask for it.
Ne da bi vprašali.
We don't have to be educated into it.
Ni treba, da nas izobražujejo za to.
It's there,
Tam je.
right? It's there. Now, Jesus said, a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit,
Jezus je rekel, dobro drevo ne more roditi slabih sadov in slabo ne dobrih.
right? So this fallen nature that we're born with,
Ta padla narava, s katero smo se rodili,
it's the bad tree,
je slabo drevo.
and it's going to produce bad fruit,
In bo imela slab sad.
right?
Slab
And-
bo imelo.
God is the good tree,
Bog je dobro drevo,
and he produces good fruit.
on proizvaja dobro,
Right.
dober sadež.
So, if there has ever been good fruit produced in our lives,
Če je kar kdaj v našem življenju bil proizvod dober ali pa sad dober v našem življenju,
it's because at that time we connected with God
to je bilo zato, ker smo v tem trenutku bili povezani z Bogom.
and we took the good that he had,
In smo sprejeli dobro, ki je njegovo,
and now we had it to give,
in smo imeli kaj dati.
right? But it wasn't something that was coming from us.
Ampak to ni prihajalo iz nas,
It was coming through us,
ampak skozi nas.
right? And this happens even when we're not aware that we're doing this,
To se dogaja tudi, če se ne zavedamo tega.
right? And so on our own,
Sami po sebi
the only motivation that we have for doing what we do
imamo motivacijo za to, kar delamo,
is for the benefit that self will get.
samo zato, da dobimo sami.
So all of our giving is for the sake of our receiving.
Torej, dajemo samo zato, da bi dobili nazaj.
That's on our own.
To, ko sami
Right.
smo prepuščeni sami sebi.
And so anything selfish,
Vse sebično,
however good it may look on the outside,
čeprav je videti tako dobro,
is still the bad fruit.
je še vedno slab sad.
Now, there's another passage in the Bible,
Nekje drugje v Svetem pismu piše,
and it essentially says all of our goodness is not good,
pravzaprav piše, vsa naša dobrota ni dobrota.
right? Because the motivation behind it is not good.
Ker motivacija za njo ni dobra.
And we can't control that.
In tega ne moremo nadzorovati.
Right? We have no control over that.
Ne moremo nikakor.
Right? So there's no blame for it.
Zato nimamo odgovornosti nekako.
Right? But it is a problem.
Vendar je težava.
Because it causes us to govern ourselves
Ker povzroča, da ravnamo
in a way where we harm ourselves
na način, ki škoduje nam.
and we harm others
In prav tako škodujemo drugim.
while we're trying to do good.
Prav takrat, ko mislimo, da poskušamo delati dobro.
It's a real mess,
Groza.
right? So, can our fallen nature fix the problem with our fallen nature?
Ali naša padla narava popravi sama sebe? Oziroma, dobro sem rekel.
Right. So, if you have a computer that has a corrupted operating system
Če imate slab operativni sistem v računalniku
and it's virus infected,
in ga je dobil nek virus,
can you use the same corrupted virus infected operating system to fix itself?
ali lahko uporabite ta isti virus, ki je povzročil težavo, da težavo popravi?
No.
Ne.
No. The only way that you can fix it
Popravite ga lahko samo tako,
is you have to connect it to another operating system
da ga povežete z nekim drugim operacijskim sistemom,
that functions properly,
ki deluje pravilno,
and now you can borrow over the correct operating system,
in presadite, če rečemo, ta operacijski sistem,
and now it can work,
da bi delovalo.
right? So, trying to fix our deception
Če poskušamo popraviti svojo nezmožnost gledanja, kako je treba,
with the thing that is deceived,
s stvarjo, ki je prevarana,
it's problematic,
to je problematično.
right? So, how many people are caught in an addiction because they want to be?
Koliko ljudi je zapletenih ali pa ujetih v zasvojenost, zato ker hočejo tako?
Yeah, nobody.
Nihče ne.
No. How many are a slave to alcohol because they like being a slave to alcohol?
Koliko ljudi rad je zasvojenih z alkoholom, zato ker tako hočejo, da bi bilo?
No. No. How many are a slave to pornography because they like being a slave to pornography?
Koliko ljudi zasvojenih s pornografijo želijo, da so sužnji pornografiji?
No. Right? Nobody wants to be a slave
Nihče noče biti sužen,
because we were made to be free.
ker smo ustvarjeni, da bi bili svobodni.
People are addicted to what they're addicted to not because they like being slaves,
Ljudje so zasvojeni ne zato, ker bi radi bili sužnji,
but because they can't get out of the prison that they're in.
ampak zato, ker ne morejo iz zapora, v katerem so.
And yes, there are certain components of it that are pleasurable, that you like,
Obstaja nek del tega početja, ki vam je všeč,
but everybody wants to get out of the prison.
ampak vsak bi hotel iz zapora.
But if you try to get out of the prison with the very nature that puts you in prison,
Ampak če želite iz zapora tako, da uporabljate naravo, ki vas je v zapor spravila,
that's not going to work so well,
to ne bo dobro.
right? It's not going to work so well.
Ne deluje.
So, in order to understand what's going on,
Da bi lahko razumeli, kaj se dogaja v resnici,
we also need to understand the difference of how the mind operates in the conscious mind,
da moramo razumeti, kako deluje na področju zavesti
and how things function in the unconscious mind.
in kako deluje na področju podzavesti.
Because there's a lot of things that we do that are that's confusing to us.
Veliko stvari počnemo, ki nas begajo.
And it's because what we're doing is unconscious. What the mind is doing is unconscious to us.
Zato, ker dela nekaj, česar se mi ne zavedamo.
So we're conscious of these things,
Mi se zavedamo tega gor.
but then the outcome doesn't match this.
Ampak rezultati se ne ujemajo s tem, kar vidimo.
And that's because there's a lot of this that's going on underneath.
To je zato, ker se veliko tega dogaja v nevidnem področju.
So what is that?
Kaj je to?
Now might be a good time for us to stretch.
Morda je to trenutek, da zdaj naredimo nekaj vaj.
Right? So we're going to take about a 5-minute, 10-minute break.
Dal bi vam 5 ali 10 minut, da spijete vodo, res se
There's,
ne ostanete.
there's water, there's bathrooms, and so on. And then we will pick up right here
Tam bomo nadaljevali. Tukaj bomo nadaljevali,
to seek to understand more.
da bi razumeli več.
Yeah. This is not going to be a complete evaluation of conscious and unconscious mind.
Ne bomo mogli narediti popolnega vrednotenja zavestnega in podzavestnega,
Because it's very complex.
zato ker je zelo zapleteno.
And right now we're going to look at two components.
Zdaj se bomo ukvarjali z dvema prvinama.
We're going to look at the will,
Z voljo,
and then we're going to look at what some people call the heart.
nekateri tej drugi stvari rečejo srce,
Right? But not this heart.
ampak ne to.
Right? That's a component of the mind.
Del uma bi bil to.
Right? So in the conscious mind, we have the will,
V zavestnem umu imamo voljo.
and this deals with the needs of the body.
Ta se ukvarja z telesnimi potrebami.
So you have information that's being sent up from the body
Telo pošilja podatke
through the nerves
po živčnem sistemu
up into the brain.
do možganov.
Right? That information is going to be received.
To bo sprejela,
Right? It's going to be
to
evaluated.
bo telo, bo sprejel in
Right.
vrednotil.
And now I'm going to recognize that there is a need.
In jaz bom spoznal, da obstaja potreba.
So I might feel thirst or hunger or
Morda bom čutil željo
suffocation.
ali lakoto ali se dušil,
Right.
razumel, da se dušim.
And now when I become aware of it,
Ko se tega zavem,
now we can make a decision,
zdaj se lahko odločim.
and that decision will put the body into action.
Torej, ta odločitev bo sprožila, da se telo giblje,
And breathing and drinking
nekaj
and
naredi
eating,
in torej je ali pije
Right.
ali karkoli.
whatever is
Dika.
needed.
Karkoli je potrebno.
Right? And now you also have a personality,
Obstaja tudi osebnost,
right? And the personality has different intangible needs in a different order.
Osebnost ima neke neotipljive potrebe v nekem zapovrstju.
Right? So for one person,
Za nekoga
justice might be a really high need.
pravičnost je zelo velika, visoko postavljena potreba.
And another person, harmony might be a really
Za
high need.
drugega je skladnost.
And somebody else, it
Zelo
might be
potrebno.
security.
Nekdo pa varnost zelo
Right?
čista.
And each different personality has their spiritual needs in a different order.
Različne osebnosti imajo različne duhovne potrebe postavljene v različnem zapovrstju.
And so that also contributes to the decisions that an individual makes.
Tudi to vpliva na odločitve, ki jih prinašamo.
Now, that information, when it comes to the conscious mind,
Ko gre za zavestni
everybody is individual here,
pomeni, da smo vsi posamezniki.
right? We all have an individual personality, we have individual tastes and
Različni
preferences
posamezniki,
and so on.
Vsak ima nekaj svojega, okuse in tako naprej.
When it comes to the heart,
Ko govorimo zdaj o tem srcu,
it functions the same in everybody,
ta deluje vsakemu enako.
right? And it's unconscious to us.
In tega se ne zavedamo.
And in the heart, there's the evaluation of gain and loss.
Srce razlikuje med dobičkom in izgubo.
Right? So you have that information.
Torej, te podatke zdaj dobite.
If anything, there's kind of a neutral line where you could care less.
Obstaja neka črta, za katero bi rekli, da vam je vseeno.
Right? It doesn't drive you in one direction or another.
Ne požene vas ne v eno ali ne v drugo smer.
But if you're above that line,
Če ste nad to črto,
you consider it a gain.
to imate za dobiček.
And the farther above you get, the greater the gain is.
Ko se greste navzgor, imate za večji, se zavedate, da imate večji užitek, dobiček.
And if you're below the line,
Če ste pod črto,
then it's a loss.
to je izguba.
And the farther you go, the greater a loss that
In
it
globlje
is.
greste, je večja izguba.
And so we always have a yes for the gain,
Mi vedno rečemo da v dobičku
and we always have a no for the loss.
in vedno se odzovemo z ne
Right?
izgubi.
You and I do not have a yes for loss
Mi ne rečemo izgubi da
and a no for gain.
in ne rečemo ne, jaz sem rekel narobe.
We're all
Dobičku ne rečemo ne.
right. We're always going after gain,
Vedno se bomo potegovali, da bi dobili
and we're always avoiding loss.
in se izogibali izgubi.
So when the information comes and is evaluated,
Ko pride informacija do nas in jo vrednotimo,
we have a conscious realization of hunger or thirst
se
or
zavemo potrebe,
whatever that
katerekoli
is.
je,
And now there's an evaluation of that according to gain and loss.
in potem se na drugi strani dogaja ocenjevanje glede dobička ali izgube.
And if the heart evaluates that as gain,
Če srce pravi, da je to dobiček,
then you are going to, now it's going to go from unconscious to conscious,
se bo premaknila informacija iz podzavesti
and you're making a decision to eat or breathe or drink,
v zavest in vi se boste odločili, da boste jedli, pili ali karkoli.
right? And if the heart evaluates it as loss,
Če srce informacijo razume kot izgubo,
you might recognize that you're hungry,
boste se zavedli, da ste lačni morda,
but you're going to say no to eating,
ampak rekli boste ne, zavrnili boste.
right? So, you know, like you're in a test,
Ko sodelujete v testu,
right? And it's an important test,
in to je pomembno,
and the test does not allow food,
in testiranje, morda očitno telesno, ne dovoli, da bi uživali hrane.
and if you're caught with food,
In če vas dobijo, da jeste,
you fail the test.
padete na testu.
And so now you feel hunger,
Boste torej čutili lakoto,
right? And you go, okay, well, hunger, yeah, it would be good to eat.
bilo bi dobro, da bi jedel,
But now you evaluate not only the hunger,
ampak ne vrednotite samo lakote,
but you evaluate the test and success.
ampak tudi testiranje in uspeh.
And because you have a greater need for success,
In ker imate večjo potrebo po uspehu,
then you'll say no to the eating
potem boste zavrnili jedilo,
because the eating will get in the way of your success,
ker bo to ovira na poti do uspeha.
right? Now, as long as you have access to your yes,
Doklerkoli se lahko odločite za sprejemanje,
you're good,
je dobro.
right? But if you are forced into a loss
Če ste prisiljeni na področje izgube
and you can't get out of it,
in se ne morete izogniti temu,
then there's a problem,
ste v težavi.
right? You're going to have a problem at that point,
Tukaj boste imeli težavo.
right? So, when you're faced with a loss and you cannot say no to the loss,
Ko ste prisiljeni na področje izgube in tega ne morete zavrniti,
well, now you're going to be, the mind is going to be under pressure,
boste čutili pritisk v umu.
and
Bo pod pritiskom.
since the mind controls the body,
Ker kontrolira telo,
the mind's going to put the body under pressure as well,
bo zdaj pritiskal tudi telo.
right? And now it's going to be talking to the adrenal glands,
Torej, to bodo zvedele
right? It's going to be
nadledvične žleze
it's going to be talking to the other endocrine organs,
in druge organe z notranjim izločanjem.
right? Your blood pressure's going up,
Povečal se bo
your
krvni
heart
tlak
rate's going up,
in srčni utrip.
right? You start getting fight or flight,
Se boste znašli v situaciji bega ali borbe.
and all this stuff is happening.
To se vse zdaj dogaja.
But the question is,
Vprašanje pa je,
why do you think that you cannot avoid loss?
zakaj menite, da se ne morete izogniti izgubi?
Right. Well, as we talked about yesterday in regards to worldview,
Ker smo včeraj govorili o pogledu na svet,
it's because we have a wrong worldview.
To je zato, torej odgovor je, da imamo napačni svetovni nazor.
And if I can be forced into loss,
Če me kaj prisili v izgubo,
then it means that I have the wrong treasure.
pomeni, da imam zaklad na napačnem mestu ali pa imeti je napačno.
Because God only intended for me to have a treasure that I could never lose.
Ker je Bog zame načrtoval tako, da imam samo tisti zaklad, ki ga ne morem izgubiti.
And when I'm in a deception,
Ko živim v utvari
and I see things the wrong way,
in vidim stvari napačno,
then I take something as a treasure
potem nekaj imam za zaklad,
that I could lose,
kar lahko izgubim,
and now I'm subject to loss,
in sem prisiljen v izgubo.
right? And now I'm in trouble.
Da sem v težavah.
Because the moment you lose your treasure,
Ko izgubite zaklad,
you're lost,
ste izgubljeni.
right? So let's look a little bit more deeply,
Poglejmo globlje.
right? There's two ways that we can process information in regards to gain and loss.
Sta dva načina, da se lotimo informacij, ko gre za izgubo in dobiček.
Over here on the left,
Na levi strani
I consider gain to be receiving.
mislim na dobiček, ki ga lahko sprejmem.
And the more I can receive, the more gain that I have.
Več ko sprejmem, več imam.
Right? And yes, if I receive enough, I'm okay.
Če dobim dovolj, mi je v redu.
Right? And there is this line where I have expectations.
Je črta, ki pomeni pričakovanje.
And as long as I'm above my expectation,
Če sem dobil več, kakor sem pričakoval,
then I consider it a gain.
to imam za dobiček.
Right? And the farther I am above my expectation,
Višje od svojega pričakovanja sem,
the greater the gain that it is.
večji
Right?
dobiček mislim, da imam.
Now, if I receive less than what I expect,
Če sem dobil manj, kakor sem pričakoval,
now I'm at loss.
sem na področju izgube.
Now, it's interesting because I'm still receiving,
Čeprav prejemam,
right?
to je zanimivo, jaz prejemam,
But it's less than what I expect.
ampak je manj, kakor sem pričakoval.
Now, what's worse than receiving less than what you expect?
Kaj je slabše od prejemanja manjše količine, kakor ste pričakovali?
Yeah, receiving nothing,
Če dobiš nič,
right? That's even worse.
to je slabše.
What's worse than receiving nothing?
Kaj je slabše kot prejeti ničesar?
Having something taken away,
Če vam kaj vzamejo,
right? Having your treasure taken away.
če vaš zaklad gre drugam.
So this way of evaluating information,
Torej, vrednotenje podatkov
it
na ta
has,
način
it has greater gains and lesser gains and lesser losses and greater losses.
pomeni, da obstaja večji dobiček, manjši dobiček, večja izguba in manjša izguba.
Now, the other way that I can evaluate gain and loss
Obstaja še en način, da vrednotim dobiček in izgubo.
is that gain is giving.
Če imam dobiček za dajanje,
And the,
če je to povezano,
and the more I give, the more gain that I have.
več kot dam, večji dobiček je, če imam tako.
So how do I lose on this side?
Kako izgubim na tej strani?
Well, I don't give.
Ne dajem.
Or another way of saying that is I keep it to myself.
Drugače rečeno, obdržim zase.
So with which of these evaluation methods can I control my decisions?
V katerem od teh dveh načinov lahko nadzorujem svoje odločitve?
Can I control my gains and losses over here, or can I control them over here?
Ali lahko nadzorujem dobiček in izgubo na levi ali na desni?
Right. So,
Desni.
yes, the only one that I can control is over here on the right,
Edino, kar lahko kontroliram, je tu, na
right?
desni.
Because I can control what I give and what I don't give,
Jaz lahko nadzorujem, kaj bom dal ali kaj bom obdržal.
but I can never control what I receive or what I don't receive.
Ne morem pa nadzorovati tisto, kar prejmem ali ne.
Over here, I'm dependent upon somebody else.
Tukaj sem odvisen od nekoga drugega.
And over here, I'm dependent upon my own choices.
Tukaj sem odvisen od svoje izbire.
Right? So, it's this that gives me the ability to control my decisions.
To na desni strani mi daje možnost, da nadzorujem svoje odločitve.
Over here on the left, I cannot avoid loss
Na levi se ne morem izogniti izgubi,
because it's not dependent upon me.
ker ni odvisno od mene.
But over here on the right, I can avoid loss
Na desni strani lahko se izognem izgubi,
because it's dependent upon my own actions.
ker je odvisno vse od mojega delovanja.
So on the left,
Na levi
I am dependent upon others.
sem odvisen od drugih,
I need them to give to me so I can receive something.
potrebujem jih, da mi nekaj dajo, da bi nekaj prejel.
I need them to love me and respect me and understand me.
Potrebujem jih, da dobim od njih ljubezen, spoštovanje.
But when I think that they possess something that I need,
Ko mislim, da so lastniki nečesa, kar potrebujem,
now they can manipulate me,
oni so v situaciji, da manipulirajo z mano.
right? Because for the sake of receiving what I need from you,
Da bi jaz dobil nekaj od vas,
you can say, okay, well, I need you to do X, Y, and Z,
vi lahko rečete, ja, jaz od tebe pričakujem to in to.
and then I will love you or I will
In takrat
respect you
te bom
or
ljubil,
something.
spoštoval in tako naprej.
So now I'm subject to manipulation,
Zdaj sem predmet manipulacije.
right? And if I need you to be good so that I can gain,
Vas potrebujem, če potrebujem, da ste vi dobri, da bi jaz dobil nekaj,
now I must manipulate you
jaz moram manipulirati z vami,
so that you can behave well,
da bi se vi dejansko obnašali tako, kot je treba,
so that I can receive
da bi lahko dobil
and I can be in gain,
in da bi imel dobiček.
right? And I give in order to receive,
Jaz dajem, da bi prejel,
so I invest in others,
zato investiram v druge.
and I have this thought,
In imam to misel,
it's mine,
to je moje.
right? So I believe that I have it.
Verjamem, da je imam,
I see myself as the owner.
sebe imam za lastnika.
I believe that it came from me,
Verjamem, da je prišlo iz mene,
so I'm the creator of it,
to pomeni, da sem jaz stvarnik,
and now I can have expectations in return.
lahko pričakujem povračilo.
And this is the delusion,
To je utvara.
right? This is the delusion.
Pač.
And the delusion affects not only the conscious mind,
Utvara ne vpliva samo na zavestni
but the delusion affects the unconscious mind.
ampak tudi podzavest.
So now, instead of evaluating things from a giving, not giving standpoint,
Zdaj, namesto da bi ocenjeval stvari iz perspektive dajanja ali ne dajanja,
I evaluate it from a receiving or not receiving
jaz
standpoint.
ocenjujem stvari z področja prejemanja ali ne prejemanja.
And I evaluate everything from that standpoint.
In vse tako gledam iz tega vidika.
So there's two doors that you can get out of this room.
Iz tega prostora lahko greste na leva ali desna vrata.
And let's say one is black and the other one is white.
Recimo, da so ena vrata črna, druga bela.
If you go out the black door, I will pay you 1,000 euros.
Če greste na črna vrata, vam bom dal 1000 evrov.
You go out the white door, you pay me 1,000 euros.
Če greste na bela vrata, daste vi meni 1000 dolarjev.
Right? Which door are you going out?
Na katera vrata boste šli?
Well, yeah, everybody's going out the black
Vsi
door,
boste šli na ta vrata.
right? Because if you have the option between receiving 1,000 or giving 1,000,
Če imate možnost izbrati, ali boste prejeli ali dali 1000,
no question, everybody's going after
ni nobenega
receiving.
vprašanja, vsi bodo šli skozi ista vrata.
No question.
Sploh ni vprašanje.
It's because all of us
To je zato, ker vsi
are operating here,
delujemo na levi strani.
right? Now, we're doing it naturally.
Mi to delamo naravno,
We were born this way.
tako smo se rodili.
There's no guilt for it,
Ni obtožbe za to,
but it's how we operate.
ampak pač tako delujemo.
And if I give from myself,
Če sam od sebe dam,
if I'm a creator,
če sem stvarnik,
I must be a God,
mora biti Bog.
right? And now I'm selfish
Jaz sem sebičen
and I'm proud,
in ponosen,
Right.
pošaben.
and that's my driving motivation.
In to je moja motivacija za delovanje.
And it's all unconscious,
In vse je v podzavesti.
right? Now, there's reality,
Resničnost,
right, which we don't live in.
v kateri ne živimo,
I mean, it's there,
možnost je.
but we all live in our perceptions.
Ampak vsi živimo v svojih mislih.
And so we're living in our perceptions over here,
In naša percepcija je na levi strani.
but there really is reality over here,
Ampak dejansko obstaja tudi to.
right? And here, I believe,
Tukaj, na tej strani jaz verujem,
it's not mine,
da stvari niso moje.
right? It didn't come from me,
Nisem jaz vzrok za stvari.
right? I don't have it, I don't possess it.
Nimam tega, nisem lastnik,
I'm not the creator of it,
nisem stvarnik tega,
I'm not the owner,
nisem lastnik.
I'm just the steward,
Jaz sem oskrbnik.
right? And if I'm the steward,
Če sem to,
then I must take what I need first in order to give it.
moram najprej vzeti, da bi nekaj lahko dal.
And now there's a dependence, yes, but I'm dependent upon God,
Tudi tukaj je odvisnost, ampak tukaj sem odvisen od Boga,
who's the source of what I need.
ki je vir tega, kar potrebujem.
And if I need love, He's got it.
Če potrebujem ljubezen, on jo ima.
And if I need respect, He's got it.
Če potrebujem spoštovanje, ga ima.
And I can be confident,
In sem lahko,
Of my
mu lahko
source,
zaupam,
right?
zaupam lahko viru
And I don't have to control or manipulate.
in mi ni treba nadzorovati ali
Right.
manipulirati.
And so, I recognize that I'm dependent upon Him,
Jaz priznavam, da sem odvisen od njega
and everything that I do is unselfish
in vse, kar počnem, je nesebično.
because it's simply taking and giving.
Ker samo gre za jemanje in dajanje.
And if I have to take first to have something,
Če pa imam odkot vzeti,
then I must be a creature or a creation,
potem mora biti stvarstvo,
or even better,
celo bolje,
a child of God,
Božji otrok.
right? And what I give
To, kar dam,
is not to manipulate somebody else to give back,
ne dam zaradi tega, da bi zmanipuliral koga, da bi mi dal meni kaj.
what I give is truly a gift.
Dajem dejansko darilo.
And it comes from the fullness that I already have
In prihaja iz polnosti, ki jo imam,
because I've already taken from the source,
ker sem od vira vzel.
right? So, in here, I'm a slave to others,
Tukaj sem služen drugim,
and here I'm free,
tukaj sem svoboden.
right? So it's so comprehensive. It's so comprehensive, right?
Zelo vseobsegajoče je to.
So when I got this problem,
Če imam to težavo,
I get all of these problems.
imam vse druge težave, ki so opisane tukaj.
It all comes right along with it.
S tem mišljenjem ali pa stališčem prihajajo vse te težave.
One naturally leads to the others.
Ena normalno, naravno vodi v drugo.
We didn't ask for it.
To nismo hoteli,
There's no guilt for having it,
niti ne moremo nositi krivde za to,
but it's there,
ampak obstaja.
and it's a problem,
In je težava.
right? So some more evidences that we believe we're gods.
Nekaj še dodatnih dokazov za prepričanje, da smo bogovi.
Ideologies or religions,
Ideologije, religije,
right? Where people use power to rule over others,
ko ljudje uporabljajo moč, da bi vladali drugim.
right? When atheism or agnosticism or humanism,
Ateizem ali agnosticizem ali humanizem,
where we believe that we're spiritually independent,
v katerih verjamemo, da smo neodvisni duhovno.
so that we're the source of our own love or our own respect or the
V tem
things that we give
sistemu
away,
verjamemo, da smo mi vir svoje ljubezni in vsega, kar mislimo, da imamo.
right? Science with evolutionary theory,
Znanost s teorijo evolucije, prav tako,
and humans are the highest beings.
v katerem so ljudje najvišja vrsta bitij.
We are essentially the gods of nature,
Mi smo bogovi, naravni bogovi.
right? And so
Bogovi v
on.
naravi.
Now the Bible says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Svetopismo pravi, varljivo je srce nad vse in hudo popačeno, kdo ga more doumeti.
It's so true.
Tako resnično je to.
It's so true. 10 years ago,
10 let nazaj
I did not want to accept that.
tega nisem hotel sprejeti.
Oh, I fought.
Boril sem se.
I was like, not me.
Jaz že ne.
And the more that I examined the evidences,
Bolj sem se ukvarjal z dokazi,
the more I realized, oh,
bolj sem razumel,
it's true.
v resnici je tako.
It's me.
To sem prav
Right?
jaz.
I got it. It's my problem.
Razumel sem, da je to moja težava.
Another thing the Bible says, you say, I am rich and have become wealthy and have need of nothing, and you do not know that you're wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked.
Drugi način, da to povemo isto, je na drugem mestu v Svetem pismu. Praviš, premožen sem, obogatel sem in ničesar ne potrebujem.
Right.
Ne zavedaš se, da si siromak in bednež, bog, slep in nag.
You think you're everything that you're not.
Misliš, da si vse to, kar nisi.
Right? Oh, we think we're happy and healthy.
Mislimo, da smo srečni in zdravi.
We don't know we're wretched and miserable.
Ne vemo, da smo bedni
We think we're rich.
siromašni. Mislimo, da smo
And we
bogati.
don't know that we're poor.
Ne vemo, da smo siromašni.
We think we can see.
Mislimo, da vidimo
We don't know we're blind.
in se ne zavedamo, da smo
We think we're clothed.
slepci.
No, we-
Mislimo, da... Sorry.
We think we're clothed.
A mislimo, da smo oblečeni.
Right? And we don't know we're naked.
Ne vemo, da smo nagi.
Right? We are crazy.
Smo nori.
We are. Right?
Smo.
I mean, you don't have to go to the psychiatric hospital to find crazy.
Ni vam treba iti v psihiatrijsko bolnišnico, da vam povedo, da ste nori.
All you have to do is look in the mirror.
Samo se v zrcalo pogledate.
And man, that was a hard one for me to swallow.
To je bilo težko pogotniti meni.
Right? Imagine you have somebody that's mentally ill.
Predstavljate si, da imate nekoga, ki je umsko bolan
They're living in an alternate reality,
in živijo v neki alternativni stvarnosti.
and that alternate reality is causing them to harm themselves.
Ta stvarnost, v kateri so, ji povzroča, da se sami ranijo.
And in order for them to be well,
Da bi ozdravili,
they must take a certain medicine.
morajo jemati zdravila.
But you cannot force them.
Ampak jih ne morete prisiliti v to.
But when they look at the medicine,
Ko oni pogledajo zdravilo,
they see poison.
vidijo strup.
And when they see poison,
Ko vidijo strup,
they see medicine.
vidijo zdravilo.
So they're very happy to take the poison,
So veseli, da lahko vzamejo strup,
thinking that it's medicine,
ker mislijo, da jih zdravi,
when they will avoid at all costs the medicine,
čeprav pravzaprav hkrati bodo se otepali na vsak način zdravila,
that will actually help them.
ki bi jim pomagalo.
Welcome
Dobrodošli
to our delusion.
v utvaro,
Right?
našo utvaro.
And how do you help somebody who's delusional
Kako lahko prevaranemu ali pa zmedenemu pomagate,
see that they're delusional?
da vidijo to?
Right? Well, you need holograms.
Potrebujete hologram. Ja.
All right. So imagine that you live in a world that is half real and half hologram.
Predstavljajte si, da živite v svetu, ki je pol resničen, pol pa samo hologram.
And the hologram looks so real, you can't tell the difference.
Hologram je tako dobro narejen, da ne vidite razlike med njima.
Some of the chairs in this room are real, some of them aren't.
Nekateri stoli tukaj so resnični, nekateri pa niso.
Some of the windows exist, some don't.
Nekateri od teh oken so resničnost, drugi pa ne.
Some of the doors are doors and other ones are not.
Neka vrata so res vrata, druga pa ne.
But everything looks like what it looks like.
Vendar vse je videti takšno, kot je.
Now, if you went to a door and every time you did, it functioned like a door,
Če pridete do vrat in vsakokrat delujejo tako, kot delujejo vrata,
and every time you sat in a chair, it functioned like a chair,
in kadarkoli se usedete na sedež, deluje to kot sedež,
and everything you tried worked like it looked like it should work,
in vse, kar uporabite, deluje tako, kot ste pričakovali, da deluje,
would you ever question what you see?
ali bi kdaj zastavili vprašanje glede resničnosti tega?
No, you have no reason to question.
Ni razloga, da bi to počeli.
Right? But one day you're in a building
Nekoč ste v neki stavbi
and you got to go to the bathroom
in morate na stanišče,
and you really got to go.
in res morate,
And so you're racing down the hallway
in hitite po hodniku
and the bathroom's down there.
in tam je stanišče.
And all of a sudden,
Naenkrat se zaletite nekam.
and your nose is broken
Zlomili ste si nos
and you got this big lump growing on your
in
forehead
vam raste, kaj že.
And
Muška.
what happened?
Kaj se je
And you
zgodilo?
look around to see who hit you.
In gledate, kdo vas je zadev.
There's nobody.
Ni nikogar.
And you get up off the ground,
In se poberete
and all you feel is concrete.
in čutite pod prsti beton.
But all you can see is an open hallway with a bathroom at the end.
Vidite pa hodnik in tam na dnu hodnika stranišče.
Would that make you question what you see?
Ali se boste začeli spraševati, kaj vidite, ali je res to, kar vidite.
Well, yeah, you might start walking around like this now.
Od takrat naprej
You know?
boste šli tipajoč.
Not sure when you're going to run into something else that you didn't see.
Ne boste prepričani, kdaj se boste zaleteli v nekaj, kar ne vidite.
And so another day you go into another building
Nekoč greste v drugo stavbo
and you're walking around like this.
in pač hodite in tipate.
And there's a service desk on the other side.
Na drugi strani vidite pult
And you got a question, so you go walk to the service desk,
in greste tam do pulta
and all of a sudden
in vas naenkrat padete v luknjo.
you disappear.
Izginete.
And a floor below, you land on the ground
Vi padete do tal
and you hurt your ankle,
in poškodujete gleženj.
and you look up
Pogledate gor
and there's a hole there,
in tam je luknja.
but you never fell through anything.
Ampak niste ničesar opazili
Like
z vidom.
you went from floor to nothing.
Šli ste od tal v nič.
Somehow you crawl your way back up there
Nekako pridete nazaj,
and you look,
pogledate
and that's all you see.
in to je vse, kar vidite.
And so you kind of go to where you fell,
Zdaj pa morate drugače hoditi.
and all of a sudden your hand goes through nothing.
In res pridete, da roka pade skozi tla.
Right? Would it make you question what you see?
Začeli se boste spraševati o svojem vidu.
Yeah. In both situations,
V obeh primerih.
you thought you were making a good choice,
Se vam je zdelo, da ste dobro izbrali,
but you were actually making a bad choice.
ampak je bilo napačna je bila izbira.
And you got the consequences not of the good choice, but of the bad choice.
In posledice so pa bile od slabe izbire, ne od dobre.
You thought you were walking down a hallway to a bathroom, that's good.
Se vam je zdelo, da greste po hodniku na stranišče, to je bilo dobro.
And you actually walked into a concrete wall,
Ampak ste se zaleteli v betonsko steno.
not good.
To ni dobro.
And you got the consequences of the not good decision.
Vi ste imeli posledice slabe izbire.
Even though you didn't
Čeprav
know it wasn't good.
niste vedeli, da je to slabo.
Now, if you run into enough of those,
Če se dovoljkrat zaletite,
would it make you question what you perceive?
ali se boste začeli spraševati o lastni percepciji?
Yeah.
Boste.
Yes. So, God must never suspend cause and effect.
Torej, Bog ne more izničiti povezanost vzroka in posledice.
Even though we're delusional,
Čeprav živimo v utvari
even though there's no responsibility for it,
in za to nismo odgovorni
even though there's no guilt for it,
in krivde ni za to,
right? And no blame.
nihče vas ne obtožuje za to.
If it's a bad choice,
Če je to slaba izbira,
God must allow a bad consequence to come.
Bog mora dovoliti, da je s tem povezana slab izid.
So that by the consequences,
Da bi po posledicah
we might begin to question what we perceive.
da bi se začeli spraševati o tem, kar percepiramo.
When you're delusional,
Ko živite v utvari,
another way you can find out
še to ugotovite tudi na naslednji način.
is when God tests the mind.
Ko Bog preveri vaš
And how is he going to do that?
Kako bo to naredil?
By tests.
S testiranjem.
And King David prayed, "Search me, O God, know my heart."
Kralj David je molil, preiskuj me Bog,
Right.
spoznaj moje misli, moje srce.
See if there's anything wrong in me,
Izkusi me, spoznaj misli, gled,
right? And lead me in the right way.
ali je dobra pot, po kateri hodim in vodi me po pravi poti.
So what's in the bottle?
Kaj je tukaj kaj je to steklin? Ne. Kontejner.
Right? Could be.
Lahko bi bil.
Right? Could be water, could be whiskey, could be
Voda ali kakoli.
marbles.
Morda frnikole.
Right? Could be what? You know. How are you going to find out what's in the bottle?
Kako boste vedeli, kaj je
Yeah. Well, yeah, it might be there and then.
Lahko bi se razlilo.
Right? So, when the bottle gets knocked over,
Ko zrušite steklenico,
what comes out
tisto, kar pride,
comes out because that was in.
pride ven, zato ker je bilo notri.
Right? If it wasn't in,
Če ne bi bilo notri,
it couldn't come out.
ne bi moglo priti ven.
So, when your children are not behaving well,
Ko vaši otroci ne ravnajo prav,
when your spouse is not behaving well,
ko se niti zakonec ne obnaša tako, kot bi moral,
when time is not cooperating with you,
ko vam čas ne gre na roko,
you get knocked over.
se prekucnete.
And what is inside comes
In kar je notri, pride
out.
ven.
You don't see it when it's inside,
Vi ne vidite tega, ko je notri.
but now you get to see it when it comes out.
Zdaj pa ugotovite, da je tam, zato ker je prišlo ven.
Isn't it beautiful?
A ni to čudovito?
It's just so simple.
Tako preprosto je.
If you don't think you're angry,
Če ne mislite, da ste jezni,
just wait until you get angry.
počakajte, da se razjezite.
And when comes out of you,
Ko jeza pride iz vas,
well, don't blame it on somebody else.
nič ne obtožujte kogarkoli drugega.
They couldn't put it in you.
Oni niso mogli jeze spraviti vas.
It only
v
came
vas.
out because it was there.
Lahko je prišlo ven, zato ker je bilo notri.
So, by the consequences,
Torej, po posledicah
we can begin to question our perspective.
začnemo se spraševati o svoji perspektivi.
And by what comes out of us,
In s tem, kar pride iz nas,
we get to see what's inside.
spoznamo, kaj je notri.
And so, guess what?
In, a veste kaj?
If God wants to save us from the delusion,
Če nas Bog hoče rešiti utvare,
He must allow the consequences to come
mora dovoliti posledice,
in order for us to be able to see our condition.
da bi videli svoje stanje, da bi spoznali svoje stanje.
And He must allow us to spill out,
Mora dovoliti, da se razlijemo,
not so that He can see what's inside.
ne da bi on videl, kaj je notri.
He knows that already.
On to že ve.
It's so that we can know what's inside.
To je, da bi mi zvedeli, kaj je notri.
Because you can't fix what you don't know.
Ne moreš popraviti tega, česar se ne zavedaš.
So we got to know it first
Najprej moramo spoznati, kaj je.
before there can be a solution to it.
Preden poiščemo rešitev.
And you and I, we exist in community.
Mi pa obstajamo v skupnosti.
So if I come spilling out,
Ko jaz pridem in se razlijem na vas,
well, I might spill out on you,
morda vas bo zadelo.
right? And I get to see what's in me.
Jaz pa bom videl, kaj je v meni.
And then you might spill over,
Ampak tudi vi lahko se razlijete
and then you get to see what's in you.
in boste takrat videli, kaj je v vas.
And if I pay attention to what's in you,
Če jaz mislim na to, kar je pri vas,
which I can never fix,
kar ne morem popraviti,
but I don't pay attention to what's in me,
in nisem osredotočen na tisto, kar je v meni,
which is the only thing that me and God can
a to je
fix,
edina stvar, ki jo lahko z Božjo pomočjo popravim,
then I just go around blaming everybody else
potem grem okoli in obtožujem vse druge.
for what comes spilling out of me,
Za tisto, kar pride, kar se izlije iz mene.
and I can never be free.
In nisem nikoli, ne morem nikoli biti.
Because the problem is
svoboden.
always somebody else,
Ker je težava vedno v nekom drugem
and I can't fix it.
in tega ne morem popraviti.
Right? So, when you come spilling out,
Ko se zgodi, da se razlije nekaj iz vas,
just remember,
se spomnite,
it's not their problem,
to ni njihova težava,
it's my problem.
to je moja težava.
All right? And it's coming spilling out so that I can see it.
In to se zgodi, da bi jaz ugotovil, da je to
So
tako.
now, me and God,
Zdaj, Bog in jaz
we can work on it.
lahko delava na tem
And this thing can get resolved.
in se lahko reši ta stvar.
Oftentimes we think, oh, it's bad that we come spilling out.
Veliko krat mislimo, strašno je, da se je nekaj izlilo iz nas.
No,
Ne.
No, it's good that we come spelling out.
Dobro je, da se je tako zgodilo.
Because we need to see what's inside.
Zato, ker moramo zvedeti, kaj je notri.
Otherwise, we have no clue.
Drugače smo brez zavesti. o
And
tem.
we just continue with the delusion.
In še naprej živimo v utvari.
Right? So that's the problem.
To je težava.
And the question is, what's the solution?
Vprašanje je, kaj je rešitev.
That's tomorrow.
To je jutrišnja tema.
Right? But we need to understand the problem first.
Ampak moramo najprej spoznati težavo.
Right? So we'll see you tomorrow.
Vidimo se jutri.
Yeah. Yes.